All right, Best Bets is back. Week 4 of college football, week 3 in the NFL. So let's bring in Hunter McCann before we get started. Hunter has been a news producer here for quite some time, but I sit right next to him. We talk a lot of sports. That is his passion. I probably talk a lot more golf than he talks baseball, basketball, and football. We'll tell you how to find his full slate of picks. More importantly, how to listen to those on the radio in a minute. Where do you want to begin?
Let's begin in the SEC, where the Rebels have not defeated the Crimson Tide since 2015. That game was also in Tuscaloosa, where Ole Miss shot out to a 30-10 lead late in the third quarter. But they hung on despite Alabama clawing back, not once, but twice in the fourth quarter. They went on to beat Alabama for the first time since 2003. So, does history repeat itself? Well, I'm not entirely sure that is the case. Marching into Bryant-Denny Stadium is a tough thing for this Ole Miss team, and trying to run up the score on Nick Saban's squad, not sure they'll be able to do that. But I think they'll do enough to cover 7 points. Ole Miss is averaging an SEC best 52.7 points per game, and you can thank the quarterback play of Jackson Dart for most of that. He has had a solid year and looked fantastic so far. The Rebels have already defeated Mercer, a talented Tulane team, and Georgia Tech last week. So with their first true test of the season, starting SEC play, I think they're going to be ramped up, and I think they're going to do enough to at least hang on against Alabama in a very hostile environment.
Not too confident in Bama's offense, are you, Hunter?
I mean, not at all, but really, how could you be? Specifically for 2 reasons. Jalen Milroe has been named the starting quarterback for this game. The same quarterback that was benched from the Tides matchup last week when they played the University of South Florida. His poor performance at home against Texas is what jeopardized his starting spot. Now, after Tyler Buckner and Ty Simpson combined for only a whopping 17 points under center against the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls of South Florida. He is back as their guy. I expect him to continue to make mistakes, especially now that he has so much pressure to keep his starting role by having success on the field. And secondly, and possibly the biggest thing, their offensive line sucks. They cannot keep a clean pocket. As for the first time under Nick Saban, this offensive line has allowed 5 sacks in back-to-back games. If things don't change and change quickly, we may witness the collapse of Alabama football and its dominant reign.
That is quite the hot take. We will see what happens there. What's next?
All right. Well, it's been 27 years since the Buckeyes of Ohio State visited Notre Dame, and 87 years since Notre Dame beat Ohio State. We definitely could not find video of that. But that victory in 1936 was also in South Bend. Ohio State has the best wide receiver in college football in Marvin Harrison Jr. and a talented running back in Travion Henderson. Last season, the Buckeyes beat the Irish in a hard-fought 21-10 game, but now they have a new and untested quarterback in Kyle McCord. But I think the Notre Dame team has plenty of talent to keep this one close at home. This will be their biggest game of the season so far, and head coach Marcus Freeman has to prove that this team can win in big games. I'm not sure they will, but they'll keep it close, so give me the points.
I like it. I was watching Pat McAfee this morning. He had head coach out there. His student body already looks pretty fired up.
Oh, yeah.
What do you like about the Irish?
It's easy for me. I think the experience of Sam Hartman, the quarterback transfer from Wake Forest, is what gives the Irish an edge over this Ohio State team. He should be able to play a clean game. Plus, he wasn't there last year when Ohio State beat Notre Dame. They got new weapons. Things are going to be working a little bit different. There's a lot of pressure for him to produce, though, with the numbers that he's had in the first 4 games, as he has over 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Wow. So if he plays his brand of football, I think Notre Dame can not just hold on. I actually think they can win this thing. But once again, take the points.
Take the points. You like Notre Dame. Okay, let's transition over to the NFL.
All right. I got 3 picks. Here's one of them. It's pretty simple. The Atlanta Falcons, they're on the road to take on the Detroit Lions. And these 2 teams like to score points. They love to, but in very different ways. I think over/under in this game is set a little bit low. Bijan Robinson should have a field day against a very weak Lions run defense. And Detroit should be able to continue to produce points with an explosive offense with multiple targets for Jared Goff. Even with the possibility of David Montgomery not playing on Sunday, the Lions still have rookie Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield, as he's been itching to get more play time and is very dangerous as a pass catcher. I think Vegas has this line too low. Like I said, it's just too low. Detroit and Atlanta over 46.5 points on Sunday. All right, so let's recap this real fast. We have Ole Miss +7 on the road against Alabama tomorrow. Notre Dame at home +3.5 against Ohio State tomorrow. And in the NFL, Atlanta and Detroit over 46.5 points. There's your 3 picks.
There you have it, but that's just The tip of the iceberg of
yeah.
what Hunter actually has. Hunter McCann with this week's WBRZ's Best Bets. You have 3 more picks that people can check out. How can they find them?
Well, they're listed on WBRZ.com right now, but if you want an in-depth analysis of those other 3 picks, check out Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow morning from 10 to noon as I co-host a show live on ESPN 104.5. I'll break it all down.
I am a avid listener. I text you during the show.
All the time.
Does that bother you guys?
No, I love it. I love the interaction.
I still have not gotten a shout-out, though.
You're right. You know, a lot of Twitter DMs, a lot of text messages. We're going to get that Michael Shingleton shout-out in there.
All right, Hunter will be back every Friday during football season with the best bets in both college and the NFL.
Absolutely. Let's go make some money.